Hey guys, how we doing? Please remember to like, follow us on all of your social media outlets, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, or YouTube. We're talking about short game still, and we started talking about the mechanics and ways to use your imagination in club selection around the green. But I want you to think about the versatility of each one of your clubs, and today we're going to focus on the sand wedge itself. Okay, and what I mean by versatility, especially around the green, we have more than one shot that we can hit, more than one chip shot that we can hit with our sand wedge. And we've been talking a lot about the basic sand wedge, and you see our camera from behind. I got a little towel out here. We got the third camera up today. Okay, and if I'm hitting a basic chip shot, we talked about our feet being together, slightly open, majority of weight on that front side, and making sure we're using more shoulders than wrist as we go back and through. And that landed a little bit over the towel. And we finish a chip shot with our hands above the club head, not with the club head above the hands. That's more of a release mechanism of the wrist, and we see more of that with the pitch shots. Okay, so that's the textbook thoughts for chipping. Okay, but with that being the basics, there's ways that we can control the club face, hit it higher or hit it lower. We showed you the squared face, you know, sort of the neutral setup and what we do on most chip shots. But what happens if I actually open my club face with all the other parts of that setup being the same? Okay, we can expect the ball to go a little bit higher, maybe land a little bit softer, but we can trust that we're going to hit it about the same in relation to the consistency. So let's give that a try. Instead of our blade being square, we're going to open that up. Hands are still going to be a little bit in front and weight's still going to be forward. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, so definitely went higher. Okay, I purposely took a longer stroke just so you could see, you know, what happens to the golf shot, and we had a lot more height to that particular shot when we did that. Okay, now I want to hit another one like that. Okay, same thing, opening the blade up. Nothing changes with my stance or setup, and this time I'm not going to take it back as far. So that was a little softer, ooh, a lot closer. Okay, so that definitely landed softer, smaller stroke, you know, a little more appropriate for this particular shot, and it gave us a particular result there that we really like. Okay, now that was opening the club face. Now a lot of people don't know this, but I learned this from watching Justin Rose in a British Open years ago. And if we reference our start of square club face and body in the neutral position for a chip shot, I saw Justin Rose kind of going up more on the toe of the club and turning his blade in and aiming his body a little right of his target. Okay, the announcers kept saying that this shot would produce a knuckleball kind of a roll that will roll out to the hole and kind of create topspin on it. And when I saw him hit this shot, that's exactly what happened. It landed very, very close to where he started, but it rolled out quite a bit. So I thought this was an alternative for pulling out the 7-iron or the hybrid for those longer bump and run shots when we have a big green similar to our putting green here. So let's give that a try. Okay, so instead of the closed club face, we're going to go up and turn our blade in a little bit, and we're going to aim our body a little right of our target, and let's see what happens here. Wow, that really did get some topspin on it, and it rolled out quite a bit. All right, so thinking about closing the club face, adjusting your body to kind of create topspin, or opening the club face to create a softer shot, but still not using the wrist in any of those types of shots, because the wrists are very, very difficult to use, you know, around the green, and anytime we're flopping or using our wrists, you know, hitting the ground, blading it across the green, all those things come into play. So really think about the different options as you're practicing, working on different variations of opening your sand wedge or closing your sand wedge and maybe manipulating your body to make sure it's on the target line. Okay, there's one other option that I talk about with chipping that's a little different than the basics. And with the basics, again, slightly open stance, majority of weight front, hands a little more forward. Let me grab this golf ball behind me here, behind the camera, and we can kind of illustrate this. But I call it the belly chip, okay, where instead of being more forward with our hands and our weight, we're more neutral with all of that, okay? This one, I think, really does promote a softer shot. You have to make sure you accelerate, and even more so with the belly kind of chip, where this stays pointed in your sort of your sternum and belly, and everything works back and through. Okay, still kind of pointing at my belly, not pointing away from my body. These little shots here can be softer and something that you can use for a shorter shot, or if you're using your 8-iron, it may give you a result that doesn't roll out quite as much. And remember, you're trying to find a happy medium between what you do well and adding, other ways to kind of, limit the distance or get a little more distance out of each one of your shots. And this is the way to do it. Okay, so with my sand wedge, I'm going to have this more neutral, with my stance being more neutral. I think it is okay to still have the weight a little more forward on the neutral belly chip. But now you're going to keep, all this is going to kind of stay connected back and through as we go through. And that ball did land softer as it went through in the club. Although still below my hands, technically it is a little higher up just because of how we're moving our shoulders and our body through that shot. So those belly chips are something that I'm seeing more of. I don't use it as much. Old school, don't trust it when my hands are in a neutral place. We like to have them forward to ensure that I'm going to hit golf ball first. But that's me being a little bit different. It's something that works for my unique game. But as an instructor, I don't like to confine or make you do anything just because it's in my paradigm. I want you to explore what works for you and ask questions, and then that way we're working together to make you feel better and to find your DNA. So hopefully that helps you with thinking about ways to use your sand wedge, closing the blade, opening the blade, but not using wrists, as we're still talking about traditional chip shots. Don't need a lot of wrist action in those, more about the shoulders rocking back and through, and sort of how our body sets up at address, okay? So hopefully that helps you out. Please like us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and on YouTube, and thanks for watching.